We are all born into a world driven by hidden forces that shape our lives far more deeply than we realize. We grow up believing the old promise: work hard, save money, and security will follow. Yet the harder we strive, the more it feels like running in place, earning, saving, spending, without ever truly building lasting wealth. We treat money as a fair measure of our effort, a stable foundation for our future. But what if that very belief is the cornerstone of an elaborate illusion? The modern monetary system isn't designed to make you wealthy. It's engineered to keep you in a perpetual cycle of debt and dependency. Before 1971, the US dollar, the world's reserve currency, was tied to a real, tangible asset: gold. Each dollar bill represented a claim on a physical quantity of a precious metal held in reserve. When that anchor to the gold standard was severed, money became fiat currency. Its value was no longer backed by anything physical, but by faith alone. Faith in the governments and central banks that issue it. This momentous shift granted these institutions the unprecedented power to print money without restraint, creating it from nothing. The inevitable consequence is inflation, a silent tax that erodes your purchasing power, not because you are earning less, but because the very money you hold is being systematically devalued. But the creation of money doesn't stop with governments. The vast majority of the money we use today, over 90%, is not printed at all. It is brought into existence by commercial banks through a mechanism known as fractional reserve banking. When you deposit your savings, the bank is only required to keep a small fraction of it on hand. The rest is loaned out. This loan is not taken from a pool of existing money. It is entirely new money, created digitally as an entry in a ledger. It's a system built on credit, transforming a small amount of base money into a vast ocean of book money. If every depositor demanded their cash at once, the entire financial structure would implode, because the money simply doesn't exist in physical form. It is a fragile house of cards, built on numbers flickering on a screen. Here lies the most dangerous design flaw in the system: the debt trap. When a bank creates a loan, it only creates the principal amount. The interest, the cost of borrowing that money, is never created. This means that within the entire economy, the total amount of debt owed is always greater than the total amount of money in existence to pay it back. This structural deficit forces society into a relentless zero-sum competition for a limited supply of currency. To service old debts, new and larger debts must be taken on, creating an ever-expanding pyramid of obligations. It is a grand Ponzi scheme that locks the entire economy into a state of perpetual growth and borrowing, not for prosperity, but merely to prevent its own collapse. We are not just participants in this system, we are its fuel. The ultimate beneficiaries of this intricate design are not the hardworking public, but the private banking magnates and powerful cartels that control the world's central banks. These entities wield the power to manipulate the entire economy by controlling the money supply. They can inject liquidity, creating economic booms and asset bubbles, only to withdraw it later, triggering crises and recessions. During these downturns, when panic floods the market, they acquire real assets: corporations, real estate, natural resources for pennies on the dollar, consolidating their wealth and power with each turn of the cycle. It is a calculated transfer of wealth from the many to the very few. This mechanism of control extends beyond national borders. The petrodollar system, established in the 1970s, cemented the US dollar as the global reserve currency by requiring oil to be traded in dollars. This arrangement allows the United States to print its currency with near impunity, exporting its inflation to the rest of the world. Nations are forced to hold vast reserves of dollars to purchase essential energy, effectively financing American deficits. Furthermore, the easy money tap is strategically used to destabilize developing nations. By flooding their economies with cheap credit and then abruptly turning it off, financial powers can trigger currency crises, forcing these sovereign nations to accept harsh austerity measures, privatize their public assets, and open their markets to foreign exploitation. It is a modern form of economic colonialism, waged not with armies, but with interest rates and credit ratings. The consequences of this financialized economy are not merely economic. They are corrosive to the very fabric of our civilization. It inverts our social values, where those who speculate on financial instruments are rewarded far more than those who create real, tangible value, the farmers, the builders, the teachers. This system actively promotes a culture of rampant consumerism and indebtedness, turning citizens into modern-day serfs, chained by mortgages, student loans, and credit card bills. The constant fear and financial pressure break down community ties, replacing cooperation with competition and isolating individuals in a desperate struggle for survival. We have been conditioned to see each other not as neighbors, but as rivals in a game we were never meant to win. But escaping this matrix is possible. On a macro level, we can look to parallel monetary systems that operate outside the debt-based paradigm. Systems like the WIR Bank in Switzerland or local exchange trading systems. Let's create interest-free credit and facilitate trade within communities, fostering local resilience and insulating them from the volatility of the global financial system. These are not just theoretical ideas. They are proven models for building a more equitable and sustainable economy from the ground up. They demonstrate that money can be a tool for mutual exchange, not a weapon of control. For individuals, the path out begins with a personal detox from the siren song of easy money and a conscious shift toward accumulating real, enduring value. This means acquiring assets that cannot be printed into oblivion, such as gold or land that has genuine utility. It means investing in your own human capital, your knowledge, your skills, your health, which are assets no one can ever take from you. Most importantly, it requires strengthening the bonds of family and community, which are the ultimate safety net in times of crisis. Living minimally, reducing dependency on debt, and building networks of mutual support are not acts of deprivation. They are radical acts of liberation. It is about reclaiming our sovereignty, one choice at a time, and building a future founded not on debt and illusion, but on real value and human connection.